Hi everyone, it's Dawn Duvall with Shall We Stamp coming to you from, well, it's pre-recorded. I am leaving for Fort Myers for a week and I want to provide you with a video this evening. And this is one of the videos for my Make the Cut membership program. That program currently is on hold as I'm revamping it, and it should be available after the first of the year, hopefully the middle of January, if not towards the end. But the whole gist of the Make the Cut is to help us use up our pattern paper so that we're not hoarding it, and helps us also to make multiple cards. So if you don't have a lot of time and you need to make greeting cards, this is a great way to do so by using these templates. So this is October of 22's template that I did last year. This was after the hurricane, so you'll hear about some of that as well. But the whole idea is I wanted you to see this particular template because it gives you the opportunity to make 22 plus cards from using 3 sheets of 12 by 12 paper. So I hope you enjoy this template, and I will see you when I return the following week. All right, thanks everyone. Talk to you next week.
Welcome everybody to October of 2022 Make the Cut. First, I apologize for this coming out late, but due to living in Fort Myers and the hurricane, we evacuated for 5 days, came back, cleaned out our refrigerator, and then we headed out west to Phoenix for 2 weeks. So I am back. We fortunately did not have any damage, and I'm able to get back into my stamp room. So we're going to go ahead and work with our Make the Cut template. Now this month's going to be a little bit different. We're going to use 3 sheets of designer paper, 12 by 12, and we're going to so you want to get 3 sheets that will coordinate. And this is what I've chosen. This is one of the packs that you can get from our Hostess set that's got 48 sheets in it, and it's all sorts of designs. So we're going to use these 3. So if you're going to do this, you want to make sure that you're using papers that coordinate, okay? All right, so the template, the first thing that we're going to do is we've got the A's are 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. So I'm going to cut at 3 1/4 both times, and then that's going to leave this piece right here that we'll be able to cut out these 3 1/2 by 1 inch pieces. Then here we're going to be cutting 3 1/4 by 1 3/4, and so we'll have several of those. And then of course you want to have your cardstock and everything ready. And then you'll use for your sentiments, you're just going to cut 2 1/4 by 1/2 inch. I'm sorry, 2 3/4 by 1/2 inch for your sentiment. Now it can be bigger depending on the sentiment that you're going to use, but that's what I'm going to do in this case. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm hoping that I can get this cut using my Stampin' Trimmer. It should be able to go through 3 sheets. So let's get started. So I'm going to make the first cut at 3 1/4. So let's move this in here, and we're going to bring this down to 3 1/4. And hopefully, what I'm going to do, give me 1 second, I'm going to take my blade. This is a tip. I'm going to take my blade out because I always go from top to bottom. And occasionally I may go up, but not much. I'm going to turn my blade around and reverse it and put it back in my slot. And that way it might be a little bit sharper. So that's one of the tips for the day. Okay. So let's go ahead. I'm going to get my paper lined up again. Butt it up to my header up here. And we're going to line this up at 3 1/4. So there's 3 inches, and then there's 3 1/4 right there. So I'm gonna line that up there, move that out of the way, and I want to make sure my paper is even. So I'm going to slide these pieces over just a little bit because we want to make sure we got them all straight and even. All right, hang on a minute. Sorry. When you're dealing with paper, always you want to make sure you get it all straight. So I'm going to hold it tight here. That way I know it's not going to slide on me. Okay, now we'll try this again. 3 1/4. I'm going to line it up from top to bottom. And we're going to go ahead and pull down 1 1/4. All right, so we're going to go ahead and pull down our blade and cut. All right, so we're going to pull that out. And then we're going to turn this. Okay, and I'm going to put this off to the side just a minute. I'm going to lay that right there. So we're going to turn this, and we're going to cut at 4 1/4. Okay, so we're going to do 4 1/4, which will go right there. So 4 1/4 there, and that one you can see didn't come all the way through. So let's just make sure, let's lift that up, and we're gonna go back and we'll cut one more time. Let's make sure it's there, it just didn't cut all the way through. So make sure 4 1/4, you're gonna get that right. We'll just cut one more time. That's just gonna make that slit right there. Okay, so there's our 4 1/4, and I'll trim that little piece, that's not much, there we go. All right, take that out of there, and then we'll do one more 4 1/4. Get these in here nice and even. This is a good way to use up your paper because we're going to be using 3 sheets at a time, so that's pretty good. We can all, if we're all hoarding our paper and not using it, this is the perfect template. All right, so we're going to pull this down one more time. I'm going to go back up just to make sure it's cut. All right, so there's our other 4 1/4. So I'm going to set those off to the side, and this piece I'm going to hold for just a minute. We're going to put that over there. All right, now we're going to come with our next section, and this one we're going to cut at 3 1/4 as well, and then we're going to cut it by 1 3/4. So we're going to do 3 1/4. Okay, and this one is our first 3 1/4. Now I cut that down. I'm going to come right back up before I move it because one of the pieces I can tell didn't cut all the way through. Okay, all right, so there's that. Now we're going to turn this, and we're going to cut at 1 3/4. So we're going to do 1 3/4 that, and then we're going to cut at 1 3/4 here, 1 3/4 here. Okay, and we're going to cut that one. Whoops, hang on, we want to get back so we can cut it through because we got one piece that didn't come all the way through. So we're going to keep it at the 1 3/4 mark. We'll come down once more and get that cut. Okay, so there's our other 1 3/4. So we've got 2 of those, and then we're going to put those right there. Then we are going to do our other 1 3/4 by 3 1/4. And then I'm going to come back and I'll show you in just a minute. I didn't do the second 4 1/4, but we'll get to that in just a minute. So we're just going to go, right now I'm doing this side here. So we've done this one, and now we're going to do that one, which we did. And now I'm going to do, now I'm going to do these 2 down here. So we're going to do 1 3/4 right here. Let me get them straight again. At 1 3/4, 1 3/4 right there. All right, so we're going to push down hard. All right, so we've got that one. I'll put that right here, and then we're going to do this one more time. 1 3/4. All right, we got that one, so we're going to push hard and pull back, and then there's our second one. So we've just done this, 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 and this. Now we're going to come back and cut 3 1/2 by 1 inches. And we're going to do that 1, 2, 3, 4 times, right? So this is 3. Let's see. This is 3. Oh, no, this is 3 1/4. So we're not using that one. So we're going to put that off to the side for just a minute. This might be our 3 1/2. Hang on a second. Let's pull this one back in. This is, yes, this is our 3 1/2 piece. That's off the first one that we cut. So this is 3 1/2. So we're going to turn it and do 1 inch, and we're going to do 4 of those. All right, so I'm going to move over on this side where my 1 inch is because it's a little bit easier to hold the paper. So we're going to do 1 inch here, pull that back. So there's our 1 inch there. I'm going to set that right there, and we're going to pull this over here again and do another 1 inch. All right, so there's 1 inch there. We should, whoops, there we go. And then this should be a 1 inch as well. And then we're gonna have enough to do this one more time. So this is our 1 inch. All right, so we've got 3 so far, okay? We're gonna come back with this piece, and we're going to do another section. So we did these 2 first, right? The 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. Now we're gonna come back and do these right here, and then this is gonna leave us some extra, and we'll use that for our 3 1/2 by 1. So this one we're gonna cut at 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. All right, so we're going to pull that down, go back up and make sure we got that one cut, and then we're going to do our 4 1/4. Going to do 4 1/4. Now we may have a couple of extra pieces that we can use. All right, so there's 4 1/4. So I'm going to place those right in the same 4 1/4 pile. All right, and we're going to do one more because we had to do 2, right? Okay, so we're going to do another 4 1/4. So that's going to go over in this pile. Now we have this section here, which is 3 1/2. So we need to cut by 1 inch. So I'm going to go ahead and cut 3 more of these because I might be able to use these for something. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. all right, for some sentiments. So we've got 1 inch there. All right, so we'll do that one. We're gonna put those right up here, and then we're gonna do another 1 inch here. Okay, so we have 1 inch here. So now we've got 4 of our 1 inches, and then we actually have, this might be a little bit bigger. Let's see, this is, actually it's 1 1/4. So we have 2 sets of 1 1/4. Now you can use those if you want. I'm gonna set them up here. And then we have this piece here. Oh, I forgot to cut. Oh my, I didn't cut my 3 pieces together. All right, we got to go back and cut these. Well, that wasn't very smart, was it? Okay, so what did we just cut? Well, my 3 1/4. I didn't count this guy in there. Somehow it got left off to the side. So we're going to go ahead and do this one. My apologies. This will be the 3 1/4. And we'll just cut this one by itself. It just got stuck down when I went to pull up the paper. And this is going to be the 4 1/4, right? And then we're going to do our 4 1/4. That's going to go in the pile that I just set off to the side. All right, so there's 4 1/4. All right, and then so these 2 will go in this pile, and then this will go into this pile, and those are already there. So these are our 4, and then this is where we're going to come back and do our 1 inch pieces. So we're going to go ahead and bring this over here to the 1 inch. All right, so we're going to do 1 inch, which will go in that pile. 1 inch will go in that pile. So that will go here because we didn't have one there. And then this pile here, we're going to put that there. All right, so this guy is the extra. Let me see, he goes here. Hang on a minute. And this one right here. All right, so these are the 2 extra ones that we can use for something else. Now we have this piece here, which is 2. This is 2 1/4. Which is, we don't want to waste it. So it's not on the template. So you can use this however you want to use it, okay? Because again, if you look and see, we did 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. And then we did 4 of those. And then we did 4 of these at 1 3/4 by, 1 3/4 by 3 1/4. And then we did our 3 1/2 by 1. And we did 4 of those, so that will give us enough for our 12 cards. So you can use this for whatever piece you want. Now, if you cut this at 4 1/4, that would have used up 8 1/2, so you might not have had this much of a piece left. So you, depending on how you want to cut it, you can cut it at 4 1/4 or 3 1/4, but I think the 3 1/4 is going to go better with that. All right, so let's go ahead and get the cards made, and I'll come back and show you what I've done. All right. I am back with the cards that I made with this template. Now, one of the things that I failed to mention is after we cut all of these, and we're cutting 3 pieces together, we want to shuffle the pieces so that we will put 3 pieces on 1 card. So that's why it's important that we have paper that color coordinates. All right, so here is the cards that I designed, and I used Pool Party cardstock, Mint Macaron, and Daffodil Delight. So these are the colors that I used. And then I just flipped the pieces around. And one of the things you can do to try to make it look a little different is I just hand cut this at an angle on the small piece. So you had the large piece here, and then you had the smaller piece, and then you had this one here. Then I created a 1 inch or a half, this one is 3/4 of an inch for the sentiment, and then I cut these as a tail. And this one, I just cut, now if you have a punch, you can do that as well, but I just cut it slightly at an angle on both sides. And I'll show you if you're not sure how to do a tail. If you have a like a square or a punch that you might be able to do it that way. If not, the easy way that you can do this is to, hang on a minute, let me make sure my camera's straight. All I do is to go up and snip in the center of my cardstock, and then I just go from corner to the center part where I cut, and then go on the center put and cut center corner to the cut. Now, you can make it as short or as long as you want. And that's a quick and easy way that you can cut a tail if you don't have a punch to do that, okay? So what I did, so that we weren't using all squares and rectangles, I went ahead and cut the second smallest piece, or the middle size, into these angles. And then I just flip my paper over to get them to coordinate. So here's one of the cards that I did. And of course the insides are left blank for now. And then here's one I did with the mint macaron card. And then I've got the paper flipped. So, and then here are some more. So again, you can see how I angle cut those. And if you have a punch that you can cut the top of that and make it decorative, you can do that as well. So here are the ones that I did. So I just went through my 3 pieces and laid them out, and then I just started layering what I thought would look good with each piece. Okay, so there's, let me adjust my camera just a little bit. Okay, so there's, you can see how I did that. So we've got there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 12. So there's 5. Here's another one that I did with the Daffodil Delight. Here's one with the pool party. And these I kind of offset a little bit, and then I move this over a little bit. It's just something different. Just not that the person getting this is going to know I made 12 of these, right? But I just wanted to kind of change it up. And did my thank you. And then here's another one. And again, I angle cut the top of that. And again, here's the other one. And then this one. And then this one. Now, remember the extra paper we had left over? So I went ahead and took those pieces and made an additional 10 cards. So the one piece that was long, it was I think it was 2.5 or 2 1/4, if I'm not mistaken. I cut that down to 4 inches. So I had 3 sets of the 4, and then I had the one piece that was a 5-inch piece. That's the one I cut down to 4 inches, that long piece. And then I cut 1 inch off to make the strips for the banner. So here you can see what I did with those. So again, I just have 2 pieces plus my sentiments. I don't have 3, I just had the 2 extra. So I went ahead and just made these extra cards. So that gave me an extra 10 cards that I didn't have before. This one, I had 3 of these pieces, but I didn't have the small here, so I just laid them all together and then put the thank you on there. This one I turned landscape and did the same thing, and here's the same card, just with the you can see I've got the tag going to the right, and then this one, the tail of the tag is going to the left. And here are the other ones that I made. And here I did on Blackberry Bliss, just trying to pull the colors out of here. So we have actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, so we had 10 extra cards. We had 22 cards that we made with that one sheet, with the 3 sheets of designer series paper. All right, I hope you've enjoyed this template. It's a little bit different, but I thought it's a great way that we can use up our paper. And I'm like the rest of y'all, have a lot of pattern paper laying around, so this is a great way to use it up. All right, thank you so much. And again, my apologies for getting this out to you late. If you have any questions or need anything from me, please reach out, and make sure, if you don't mind, to post your photos in our Facebook group. All right, thank you so much, and I will see you in the next month.